Okay, now that you've seen the video of how this thing is made, let's get it attached. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to manhandle this thing. Thought somebody was pulling in the driveway. I got my guard dogs. Somebody is pulling in. That's just my brother-in-law and his crew pulling in to get on my nerves and get in my way as usual. It never fails. Every time I start this, somebody gonna show up. So anyway, I've got to get this thing pulled out, and I've got to get that attached to here and hope and pray that it is done correctly, because I haven't even test fitted it. Missing a piece. Yeah, this has got to go on there too. So this connects into there, and this end connects onto here with this pin. So like I said, I had to fab this up to fit the excavator and to fit there. Now this part came with the grapple saw, so this and all this came together. I have to go back and watch the video on when it arrived. So let me get this thing flipped up. Probably going to bust my concrete all to pieces, so, and then I'll get this. I may go ahead and put this on the excavator. I don't know. Y'all give me a minute. Let me get this figured out. Alright, I'm struggling. You may not look it, but that thing right there is heavy. I can't even get it picked up and turned over. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get that mounted on there, and then I'll reach around with the excavator and see if I can't get it stood up. Alright, so we had to beat the pins out. What it is my gap between my ears here is 6 inches, and on the machine it's like 6 1/8, 6 1/16. It's not much, but it's just enough that these ears ain't gonna fit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the grinder, and I'm just gonna take a little bit off each one. Shouldn't take much, but it's always something. So this is the guy that welded all this together, that showed up to fix his mess. No, I'm just kidding. It only likes about 1/8 of an inch. Well, not even that much. We're going to try to get it to about 1/8 of an inch. It's almost there. I just want to make sure, because those pins were... What?
We about to go to the house and get the bigger one.
What's wrong with that?
Hell, I could do the whole thing with the 6-inch wheel that I can with this 2.5, whatever you got going on here.
It's making fun of my grinding right. Anyway, we're gonna grind a little bit more on it, and then it should fit. Alright, so we finally got these ground down enough that they'll fit over the coupling there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna drive these pins back in, and hopefully I can get it mounted on the saw now and get this thing picked up. I'm going to get this thing picked up before I quit tonight. It's about, well, it's after 9 o'clock. Let me see. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's about 12 after 9. So let me get this thing. These pins drove back in here. I'll tell you what are you doing over there, boy? Huh? All right. Let me get y'all set up right here. This video may turn out a little longer than I want, but it is what it is. And I know once I get these things in here, they probably ain't gonna be no turning them. So I'm gonna try to get them lined up the best I can. First little go. And maybe it'll be lined up. May have to have a big hammer. I should be able to get the right size bolts in there. I didn't think I'd get them to spin, but they did. Whew, now I'm out of breath. All right, let me get this grinder out of the way. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to set this thing over here and see if I can't get her picked up. Let's see it like that. Let me see if I can grab it now. Let's see if she locked her in there. I think it did. Oh yeah, she's in there, cuz. That's the part that locks on it. Yeah, I got a good, got just a little bit of a gap, and that's what I wanted. That way I don't have to fight it so much getting it on there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this part on there and then just take that and dangle it in front of there, because this thing's heavy and I can't lift it up there by myself and slide the pin too. So let me get that in there. Alright, this is going to be the hard part. Getting that lined up in there and can't see. Y'all just have to bear with me for a minute. y'all can see how close I am. Just barely. Like I said, I can't see anything from the cab. So I need to come up. Lift her up, see what she look like here. Alright, turn this machine off. Whew. It's a little difficult by myself. And there she is. I don't know what the... Hey, who you barking at? Y'all better cool it. Alright. Now, of course, I have to figure out where I want all my hoses to stay, and I've got to mount that thing somewhere. I don't know if I'm gonna leave it on this thing or just make a bracket to hold each valve. I gotta figure all that out. But all I have to do now is tie my hydraulics from my thumb into that valve with a blue cap still on it. I gotta make 2 more hoses. Quick connect into my auxiliary. And she should turn and saw and close and open. I'm just kind of looking it over here, getting my bearings. I think I don't know. I'm just happy to have the daggum thing hooked up. And working. Kind of wish now I'd have had that mounted the other way. But I may just have to level my plate out and then I'll be good. But anyway, we're one step closer. So maybe tomorrow, in the next couple of days, I can figure out where to mount that. What I'm going to have to be careful of is these hoses right here, not swinging up and smashing into that, but I don't guess it can reach it, so I should be okay. I was kind of really didn't know which way would be best to position this thing, but guess I really won't know until I run it a while and see what I mess up on it and if everything's okay. So, all right, be back. Alright, so I'm back on this today. I got it mounted, got it picked up, and then I unhooked it because I'm going to try to figure out where I want to put the valves and stuff. I undid this and think I'm going to use these two bolt factory bolt holes there. There's two on this side. Either it's the same either way, but I think I want to keep them on the right side. Yeah, I'm gonna keep them on the right side. What I may wind up doing is just flipping that on around. Anyway, and I think what I'm going to use is these. This is the plate that the valves were mounted on. I'm going to use this. I'm just going to relocate my valves once I get this mounted. I'm probably going to wind up cutting a lot of this up, but I got some metal here I can use. So what I think I want to do is I want to take this plate and mount it, and that plate's heavier. I would hold it up here, but it's kind of hard to do. I'm gonna mount it as far as I can that way, and what I have to kind of figure out is once I get the plate and the valves all mounted on there, where my hoses, because they kind of have to stay in line. They was on this hole right here, so everything kind of have to sit right back like that as far as those, and then I'll figure out where my valves can go. So anyway, probably not going to show a lot of this because it's kind of hard to film by myself showing all that, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to drill some holes in that, mount it on here, and then figure out where my hoses and stuff can go. And I think what I'll have to do is just get some longer bolts here and another spacer, or maybe all I just need is just a longer bolt. I've got to have one, got to have another one to mount there anyway, because they didn't have one in them, just had a plug in that. So let me get this figured out, and then I will show y'all what I come up with. And all this is kind of, it may be permanent once I get done, but it's just kind of temporary, getting everything fitted up. All this will be different probably for everybody's machine if y'all decide to find one of these. And because they make this for more or less a skid steer, but I just told them, you know, leave the skid steer mount off, and I'll have to make all this other stuff. But either way, the machine has got more than enough hydraulics to run it. So this part, everybody, you know, we just kind of have to figure out, customize a little bit, but we gonna get it. All right, so this is what I got so far. The other valve is going to mount right here, but the problem is this hose, well, that's my auxiliary hose, that's pretty much going to have to stay right there. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to move that valve down in this area, basically drop that one and drop that one, and I'm going to cut off, basically going to trim out, of course the pin don't want to work now. I'm basically going to trim out this whole section. Oh my lord, come on now. Things never want to work when I turn the camera on. It don't help that I got hydraulic oil all over everything. I'm basically going to notch that out, get rid of all that, and then I'm also going to cut out this part, basically trim all that off once I get the valves kind of figured out. And that will pretty much give me my mounting bracket, and I think it's going to work. And I really wanted to get this thing hooked up tonight, but I'm going to run out of time, and I still have to get hoses to come from my quick connects here and tie into my main valve there. And what I'll have to do on this side is I'll have to route me a hose. It's not going to look just the greatest, but it will have to cross over to the other side. There really wasn't no other way around that. What I may can do, I'm kind of afraid to go in there. I don't want that cylinder to pinch it. It shouldn't. I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm gonna go on this side and go up or go around there and go up. I want to make it to where it's least painful as possible to attach this thing and unattach it. What I'll probably have to do is wind up putting quick connects on here and on my valve. That way I can just plug and play. Anyway, it's gonna be a whole ordeal just to change this thing, but it is what it is. So let me get all this figured out, and then I'll be back. All right, so it's supposed to storm today, so I'm gonna take the day off and finish hooking the grapple saw up. I've got all this. Well, not all this. I still got to cut that. I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna mount that valve. I was really wanting to do like hard line these into another plate right here, and then have my quick connects there, and then that way I can just quick connect the hoses to there. But I don't have another mounting spot, and I'm not going to weld and all that stuff on this excavator, do all that jive. So I think I'm just going to continue on with my plan to just quick connect into the valves themselves. So that should work, unless my hoses should be long enough. Anyway, let me get all this mounted, and then we'll see where to go from there. All right, so I got my holes drilled where my valve's going to mount right there, and now I'm going to cut the rest of this off, but I'm going to leave that on there instead of taking it off. So all right, let's get to chopping. The first line cut. That was the longest line, so now I gotta notch out the other little section. So finally got it cut off there. I couldn't get as close as I wanted, but that'll be all right. I'm gonna put the grinding rock on there now and knock off the sharp edges and go from there. And it is raining, coming down now. All right, so I got this valve mounted. This hose is just a little too short. I mean, it's like 2 inches too short now because the valve isn't exactly where it was when it shipped, and this one fit, but I may go ahead and get another one because it's pretty tight. So the piece that I cut off here, I mounted it right here, and I'm going to make, basically I'm going to make a bulkhead plate, kind of like these are right here, and I'll put quick attaches on the other side of them, because I was just going to quick attach into the valve, but I'm afraid I would have to redo a lot of those fittings, and I kind of want to do it this way so y'all don't laugh. And then all I will have to do, I was kind of thinking how I could I don't guess it'll matter, because I'll have to plug into here and then come into here, and same thing on the other side into here, and that's where I get my main flow from. So it will always have pressure here unless I had a valve, another shutoff valve to here, but there's not one there. I may see what they can do when I go to the fitting store, because I really didn't want constant pressure here until I changed some valves, but I would have to redo all that stuff too. And I really want to get it hooked up and get it going, and then worry about that later. So I'm almost there. I think I'm gonna hook the grapple saw up to it now, and then see where I'm at. Alright, so I got the hoses made up yesterday, and on there it looks like a rat's nest, but it is what it is. I still have to, I don't remember, I put this bracket on there, and this is going to be my bulkhead fittings, where all these hoses just run up in here like that, and I'll have my bulkhead sticking out, and then I'll plug my hoses up from there into here. So I've got to take the grapple back off because the thing is so high that I can't really work on it way up here, and that's all I like, and then I should be good to go. By the way, all these hoses and fittings were nearly $700, so that's that. So still got a little bit of work to do, but we are bad close, and I got to run the electrical from the cab to the valves there, and that shouldn't be too hard. But what may be aggravating is I can take this apart and drill, because it's already got these, and I ain't got a clue where those go to, but I may put my buttons once I get in here and figure out kind of how I want things to work. I'll figure out where my buttons can go. So we're getting there. So I got my holes drilled on my bracket here. Oh, that's crooked as hell. But anyway, that's where my bulkhead is going to be. This bracket was flipped, and I flipped it around just to be easier to get to. I was kind of wanting this little lip right here to be a little more protection around it, but everything is so tight in here, it's going to be aggravating to really get to. And I mean, if I hit anything right there, I've already done damage to everything else anyway. So, and again, this may just all kind of be temporary, which I doubt it will be, but later on I may try to fab up something to kind of block this whole thing. But then again, I don't want something just big and gawky on here either, which this is already, it's already going to be a little much. But anyway, what I've got is these right here, and I'm going to mount them right like that, and then that gives me my connections to the other 4 hoses from the saw. So I'll have 4 of the smaller ones, and then 2 main supplies here. Well, not main supplies, but I'm not sure if that's going to the bigger lines may be going to the saw head itself. I haven't figured out exactly the schematic on this thing. I wish they'd have sent me an actual drawing that I can see the valves and all that stuff. That's kind of my background of all the other stuff I do, is reading hydraulic and electrical schematics, and I guess I could sit down and draw it, but I don't really want to do that. But I may email them and see if they can send me the schematics. Anyway, that helps in troubleshooting stuff, but it's actually pretty simple. It looks like a mess, but it's really not that complicated, I don't think, anyway. So all right, well, we're one step closer. All right, so I got my bulkheads in there. So what I'll do, coming from this valve, I'll just plug them in right like that, and I'll put my quick attach on this side. Well, I've had bad luck, and then I've had bad luck. So had a fitting up there that was broke. I guess it got damaged or whatever, and I got it replaced, got everything hooked back up, and gonna try it again. And now it's blowing fluid out of here when I try to turn the grapple. So I don't know what in the world is going on now. I don't know if there's a line that is wrong in here from where they hooked it up from the factory, or really what in the world is going on. I'm going to have to call them and see what I can figure out, but something is definitely not right. Alright, y'all, I just got off the phone with the manufacturer, and they told me probably what it was. So if you look right here, this is actually where the case train goes. So if you look, you've got an R left and an R right. That's your rotate. Well, I thought these two, because of the way it's on the casting there, that these two would be left and right, but no, it's left case train, right. Now what it is, they've built a safety feature in that in case your case train gets clogged up. It will push oil back into your it will push fluid back into your holding tank for your bar oil. That way you don't ruin your motor for the saw. So hopefully that's got it. So we're about to find out. Okay, that looks like that's took care of it. So now she's spinning both ways. Before it wouldn't only spin but one way, and it was real slow. So let's try the saw head now. It's pretty cool. Let's go cut something. Alright. And I don't have my buttons hooked up like on my I'm going to have to hold them and do it. I don't have my buttons hooked up on my joystick yet, so grab this bigger one right here. So I'm having to kind of hold in one hand over here. Well, I'll show you right here. Like, my buttons are still right here. I have to mount these on the joystick, so y'all just bear with me. Alright, let's cut this part right here and see what it'll do. impressive. But hold on, I got a line leaking. Alright, y'all can see that thing is bad fast. Just for size reference, that's over 20 inches. That's fresh cut oak. So there she is. And once I get my buttons mounted and get a little more familiar with it, I've got to fix my mount there. I forgot to say that's turned wrong. I gotta fix that, cut that off, re-weld it, and then get my buttons mounted, and she should be bad news. So finally she's on here.